Hey guys, BJ, very basic Bible. Gonna keep going through the book of Ruth. Yeah. All right. I realized something today. The Bible study in my church. It's me and about 15 old ladies. Um, I have a rather big church, but uh, it's a good Bible study, and I'm off work at that time. I don't know. Uh, they were like asking about share screen. There we go. They're asking about this in the Bible and that in the Bible. And I was like, here, I want to look it up real quick. All I had was my phone. I'm trying to type it in and I'm like, wait, when I'm on the computer, I could just go, I remember there's a verse somewhere. Had something to do with sword and famine. So I come over here, type in sword, famine. Hey, I can just go and just look through all this stuff. Okay, sword famine, I can look at that one. Sword famine, Jeremiah, look at that one. Sword, okay. I can just look really quick like this. I can scan it with my eyes. I scan the next one. I scan the next one. Just, it's just that easy. I can go up here and be like, I think it was in one of the New Testament epistles. Oh, hey, Romans, there's only one. I don't even know where the verse is at. I don't know the address. I don't know the chapter. I think it's one of the New Testament. With a computer, so easy. Look how easy it is to find it. In real life, not on a computer, but an actual Bible, like a paper Bible, you hold open. That sucker, you better know your Bible. If you're going to be like, hey, I've got something from the Bible. Oh, I'm not sure exactly where it is. So this might make it seem like, man, okay, man, BJ knows everything. Okay, yeah. Hopefully, I probably don't think that anyway, but just in case somebody does, no, I'm able to look it up because it's so easy to look it up on a computer. You can too, you know? So here we go. Ruth chapter 2. Yesterday, I was going to try to get to verses 17, 18, 19, 20, the end of chapter 2, 21, 22, but I stopped, of course. Next chapter. So we're going to start reading right down here. Where is it at? Okay. Here we go. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. All right. And at mealtime, Boaz said to Ruth, come here, that you may eat the bread and dip your piece of bread in the vinegar. So she sat beside the reapers, and he served her roasted grain, and she ate and was satisfied and had some left. She'd just been working all day in the field. She ate and was satisfied. That's good. When she got up to glean, so she's already been gleaning. She sits in the house for a little while. Now she's going to have to go glean again. When she got up to glean, as the workers pick up, the reapers reap the harvest and pick it up, and they have it in bushels, baskets, sacks, maybe probably baskets. As pieces of grain fall off, you leave it on the floor, and people come behind you and glean. They pick up the pieces that fell on the ground. In case you forgot what gleaning was. You right there. In case we forgot. Okay. Today, like we dropped something. Oh, that's mine. Let me grab it. God said, hey, let the poor come behind you. When you're reaping and you drop pieces of grain, pieces of barley, pieces of grapes, when you drop the figs, leave them on the ground. When you drop them on accident, you're not like purposely scattering them. No, it just happens to fall. Leave them on the ground. Let the poor people come and pick them up behind you. Yeah, that's in like Leviticus. Okay. When she got up to glean, Boaz commanded his servants, saying, let her glean even among the sheaves, and do not insult her. Up here, he says, where is it at? Okay. Keep your eyes on the field where they reap and go, indeed, I have ordered the servants not to touch you. So Boaz is telling Ruth, I've ordered them not to touch you. You know, down here, we're told again, do not, Boaz says, look, reapers, let her glean even among the sheaves. Do not insult her. Down here, verse 16, do not rebuke her. 1 second, guys. Mouse. Change your mouse settings, I believe. Uh-oh, this looks wrong. Cursor speed. 5, 6. Okay. All right. Don't be rebuking her. Look, let her glean even among the sheaves. What's a sheave? Let's look real quick. There's actually a story that might help us with this. Some of you are like, I know exactly what a sheave is, just in case, okay? All right, look. 9 results. That's all. 9 Bible results for sheaves, or sheaves with an S maybe. They're all in the Old Testament. All right. Ruth, Job. The poor move about naked without clothing, and they carry sheaves while going hungry. I guess a sheave is something you carry. Okay, we're not worried about the poor, about the naked. I mean, we are, but right now we're trying to figure out what's a sheave. Okay, you can bring. Okay, one who goes here. We're trying to discover what a sheave is. One who goes here and there weeping, carrying his bag of seed, shall indeed come again with a shout of joy, bringing his sheaves with him. Carrying his bag of seed, bringing his sheaves with him. Sound agricultural, farming. That's what we're, with the harvester with which the harvester does not fill his hand, or the binder of sheaves in his arms. Full chapter. Many times they've attacked me from my youth up. Let Israel say, many times they've attacked me from my youth up. You can see kind of poetic, like Israel says, many times they've attacked me. Okay, let Israel say, let Israel say Israel is going to say this. Israel is going to exclaim it. Israel is going to tell you about it. Okay? I mean, if they say it twice right here, that must mean it's important. Yeah, that's my mask. Some places I go still got to wear a mask, and then I just fidget with it all day. So God and Israel want people to know, many times they've attacked me from my youth up. Israel is the nation of Israel, from my youth up, since we came out of the Exodus with Moses, when we were, we've been attacked the whole time. So yet they have not prevailed against me. The plowers, you use farming implements, in a field. It's a piece of metal hook. It's like a hook kind of on some wood. The wood is attached to ropes and such, and it's attached to oxen, and the oxen pull it while the hook drags through the ground. You're plowing the ground. You could use a handle, kind of like a pickaxe. You could plow the ground that way. That'd take forever, to do it that way. Yet they have not prevailed against me. The plowers plowed upon my back. They lengthened their furrows. What does that mean? So farmers come upon my back. Whose back? They've attacked me from my youth up. Let Israel say, they've attacked me from my youth up. Yet they, whoever they are, up here, prayer for the overthrow of Zion's enemies. So Israel's enemies, just enemies of Israel, I guess. I mean, they're attacking Israel. They have not prevailed against me. The enemies have not prevailed against Israel. The plowers plowed upon my back. Did he change the subject? Now he's talking about farmers. Why is a farmer taking a plow thing I just described on the back? Israel's back? Israel's a nation. There's a bunch of them. The back collectively of Israel. Did some did the farmers in Israel the plowers plowed upon my back, they lengthened their furrows. I believe what it's saying is, look at this. May all who hate Zion be put to shame. So they hate Zion, okay? May they be like grass upon housetops, which withers before it grows up, okay? Which the harvester does not fill his hands. So they're saying, hey, we want the enemies to be, these enemies to be put to shame, the people who hate Zion. They've attacked me from my youth up. May they be put to shame. They have plowed upon my back. May they be like grass upon housetops, which withers before it goes up. So this is poetic. Poetic. The plowers, the enemies of Israel. What happens when you plow a field? The metal part, the hook that the cow is dragging. I'm gonna look up real quick. We are way off topic already, guys, but that's okay. Look at this. See that hook right there? Yeah. Look, it's right there. You can barely see it probably. Right? Oh, they got wheels, but that's not ancient, Okay. Images. All right. There's the cows, the oxen, the whatever. There's the dude behind it. He's pushing it down into the ground, and there's the hook we're talking about. There's the hook. There's the hook. Look at that model of a man plowing. Yep. Oh, right here. I think it's supposed to be a whip. He's whipping them Dalmatian cows, 101 Dalmatian bovine. It's weird, white, and I guess right here too. He's got with white with black spots. But if somebody took a hook like this, dug it into your back, ouch, gonna make stripes. Stripes. When you're whipped, you get stripes. Whips were a very common thing back then. Very common weapon. So it's all farming stuff. Okay. It plowed upon my back. Grass that on housetops that withers before it grows up. You don't farm grass, but dirt collects on the housetop. They didn't have slope roofs. They had flat roofs. Dirt collects on the housetop. Rain collects on the housetop. Little bits of grass start to grow up. But what happens? Got no soil. It's on a roof. The sun comes, it burns it up. Gets all the dirt blows away and the grass blows away with it. The harvester, it's all about agriculture. The harvester does not fill his hand, or the binder of sheaves, his arms. So the binder does not fill his arms with sheaves. His arms are holding him. Maybe, I guess sheaves are kind of big things because the harvester doesn't fill his hand. The binder of sheaves doesn't fill his arms. I guess you bind sheaves. Sheaves are thing you bind. You tie you bind them together. Book binding. You have a bunch of pages of a book. You put them all together, glue them. They're all bound together. So you put them together. You bind sheaves together. You bind stuff to make sheaves. Let's see. Just as the wagon makes ruts filled with, behold, I'm making a rut in the ground beneath you, just as the wagon makes a rut when filled with sheaves. So a wagon has too many sheaves in it. It goes down in the dirt and makes ruts. For he has gathered, okay, but they do not know the thoughts of the Lord. They do not understand his plans. Micah 4:12. For God has gathered them like sheaves to the threshing floor. When you thresh wheat, you smack the crap out of it, and all the chaff goes away, and you keep the kernels. Just like if your back is plowed, say with a sword, with a whip, it's like torture. You see movies, people have scars on their faces. Their face has been plowed, it's been marked up because they're fighting with swords. They get beat up and such. Jesus' back, he had stripes. He was whipped. His back was plowed. Okay. right here, for he has gathered them like sheaves to the threshing floor. They don't understand God's plan. So he's going to gather them like sheaves, take them to the threshing floor. He's going to beat them out. That's what you do to sheaves. You beat the wheat at the threshing floor. It's called threshing. You beat it. The bad chaff blow goes away. You keep the kernels. You get to eat them. You get to eat the kernels and such. But for the purposes here, he's talking about hurting. Okay. So what's a sheave? A sheave has to do something. You can carry it. It's bound. It says the binder of sheaves and such. Right? For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field. Joseph is telling a dream. We're binding sheaves in the field. Behold, my sheaf stood up. So a sheaf is something that can stand up and also remains standing. Behold, your sheaves gathered around. Can sheaves move? And bow down to my sheaf. Sheaves technically can't actually move because look, I had a dream. Weird things happening right here. Had a dream. Weird things happen in dreams. Okay, right? So then his brothers, verse 8, said to him, are you actually going to reign over us? Or are you really going to rule over us? Because their sheaves bow down to Joseph's sheaf. Now look at this. Behold, I have had yet another dream. Behold, the sun and the moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me. How can sun and moon and stars bow down to somebody? It's poetic language. Sheaves are poetic language. Let's look up sheaves real quick. Sheaves of grain. Yeah. See, they're bound right there. You can see they're tied together with a rope. Maybe it's kind of hard to tell. Here's an ancient one. There's the wheat at the top. There's the binding. Okay. So look at that. They stack all these sheaves together. Well, hey, Joseph dreams of sheaves of grain. Now, picture's wrong. Here's the sheaves, and they're all bowing to Joseph. No, Joseph said, I was binding sheaves. We were binding sheaves in the field. My sheaf stood up. Your sheaves gathered around my sheaf and bowed down to it. This picture is wrong. It has the sheaves bowing down to Joseph. Yeah. We're getting smart. Okay, so you can see they put all the sheaves together there. Over here now. Let her glean even among the sheaves. So even the stuff you've already picked up, you bundled, you've carried in, you set it down, you've already done all the work. She's supposed to be out in the field gleaning. Okay, you leave that work alone. You leave the stuff on the ground. You carry the stuff in. You set it down. Okay, they're out there binding. Good. We got our grain here. Good. This is ours. We can leave this. We can leave the gleanings for the poor people to glean. They can get food. No, Boaz said, let her even come into the food you have already collected and glean there. Trying to be nice. Also, watch this. You are to purposely slip out for her some grain from the bundles and leave it so she may glean and do not rebuke her. He's so grateful to her. He's so nice to her. Grateful. He's so man. All right. Bible Gateway. Matthew 20. Right here. Laborers in the vineyard. For the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out early in the morning to hire laborers for his vineyard. Going to go out hire laborers for his vineyard. Okay. This is Jesus telling a parable. Okay. When the landowner had agreed with the laborers. Okay, so he found some laborers. He went out early in the morning to hire laborers. When he had agreed with the laborers, okay, for a denarius for the day. He agreed with them for a denarius for the day. Y'all work for me. I give you a denarius. Done. He sent them out to his vineyard. So they went to the vineyard. They're going to the vineyard to work. They agreed for a denarius. The landowner went out about the third hour, saw others standing idle in the marketplace. What are they doing? They're just standing around. They're in the marketplace. They're selling doves and cows over here. They're selling grain over there. There's a carpenter. They're just standing around in the marketplace. Ho hum. He said to them, you go into the vineyard also, dude. And whatever is right, I will give to you. And so they went. So he agreed with the first guys for a denarius. He goes out at the third hour, this landowner. Hey guys, go in the vineyard also. Whatever's right, I'll give you. Look how free of a society this is. So they went. Today you have to fill out all sorts of papers and stuff. Nope. To get hired for a job. I had like 25 job interviews. No, I applied for 25 places one time in one city. I got an interview at like 4 places. Then I had to do a phone, like a computer animated. No. This guy, he had been like, hey, BJ, you need a job? Yeah, okay. Go. You get a denarius, go work. Or, hey, whatever's right, I'll give to you. So I'll go work. Hey, it's a matter of life and death back then. There weren't no welfare. Their welfare system was to either hope a guy like this came along and said, hey, come work in my vineyard. B, you could be a servant or a slave, all housing and food paid for it, but you got to like 24/7 be working for your master. Or C, I guess you could do gleaning and stuff. You could beg for alms. I mean, so hey, this was a different time than today. Again, he went out about the 6th and the 9th hour and did the same thing. Hey, y'all standing idle in the marketplace? Go. I'll give you whatever. He goes out. This landowner, he's like ruthless. Like ruthless. The book of Ruth. Boaz was ruthless. Ooh, bad pun. Bad Bible pun. Okay. The landowner, he's like going out over and over and over and over again. Hey, you work. He goes back to check on stuff. He goes back out to the marketplace. Hey, y'all standing, y'all go work. He goes out. He goes back. Hey, y'all go work. And each time he says, I agree. I will pay you a denarius. Or the first guys, he said a denarius. The other guys, he said, whatever is right, I will give you. About the 11th hour, he went out. The 11th hour is like the 12th hour is the end. Okay. But the 11th hour, he went out and found others standing around. He said to them, why have you been standing around all day long? They said to him, because no one has hired us. You go into the vineyard too. Now, when evening came, the owner of the vineyard said to his foreman, call the laborers and pay them their wages, starting with the last group to the first. Okay. The landowner said to his foreman. So now the foreman goes out, calls the laborers, pays them their wages, with the last group to the first. The guys who were hired at the 11th hour, then the 9th, then the 6th, then the 3rd, then the 1st. Yeah. When those hired about the 11th hour came, each one received a denarius. Look up here. For a denarius. Each one received a denarius. And so when those hired first came, they thought they would receive more, but each of them also received a denarius. When he had agreed with the laborers for a denarius. Okay. Early in the morning, hire laborers when he had agreed for a denarius. The 3rd hour, he saw others standing. You go in the vineyard also, and whatever is right, I will give you. The 6th and the 9th hour, he did the same thing. Whatever is right, I will give you. The 11th hour, you go in the vineyard too. He didn't even say whatever is right. He just said, you go too. So when those hired first came, they thought they would receive more than a denarius. Those who were, okay, look at this. But each of them also received a denarius. He agreed to give him a denarius. Okay. Ruth, you are to purposely slip some grain out from the bundles and leave it so she may glean. Let her glean even among the sheaves. Like they've already done the work. And not only, look, if you haven't, I know you've dropped some already, but purposely throw some out too. When they received it, they grumbled at the landowner, saying, when who received it? They thought they would receive more. So when those hired first came, they thought they would receive more. He agreed. He said, hey, I'm going to give you a denarius. Back up here, when he had agreed with laborers for a denarius. But they thought they would receive more, but each of them also received a denarius. So everybody, even the guys who worked at the 11th hour, received a denarius. When they received it, they grumbled at the landowner. So the foreman gives them their money, and they're like, we're going to grumble against the landowner, saying, Those who were hired last worked only 1 hour. That's true. And you have made them equal to us. You made them equal to us. Not you paid them more, not you've given them too much money, not you gave them the right amount, so you should give us some more. No, you made them equal to us. Look, we have borne the burden of the day's work and the scorching heat. And by giving them guys at the end of the day the same pay that we had, you made them equal to us. We're not like them. We weren't standing idle in the marketplace. We worked hard. We worked for the money. Look, the burden of the day, the scorching heat. We were out all day in the scorching heat working. And they weren't. The guys hired at 11, and you give them a denarius like us. They thought they would receive more. But the landowner answered and said to one of them, "Friend, I am doing you no wrong. Did I not agree with you with the denarius?" He agreed. He agreed to give him a denarius. Take what is yours and go. But I want to give the last person the same as you. Two things. Is it not lawful for me to do with what I want with what is my own? Or is your eye envious because I am generous? Because I am generous. He's not being unfair to the people at the beginning of the day. No, he's being generous to the people at the end of the day. Right? It's not unfair. Okay, it's not unfair for him to only pay them a denarius because he agreed with a denarius. They agreed with a denarius. They all thought it was okay. Just because he decides, hey, I'm going to be nice to these people at 11 and also give them a denarius, doesn't mean that now all of a sudden he's being unfair to the people at the beginning. No, he's being unfair to the people at the end by giving them more than they deserve, quote unquote, deserve. Or is your eye envious because I'm generous? He's asking the people, are y'all being envious because I'm generous? Y'all want more money because my generosity is making you envious. Over here, Ruth is like that servant hired at the 11th hour. The Bible doesn't say, nowhere in the Bible does it say, Paul doesn't write, think about Ruth. Jesus' parable of the landowner was just like Ruth. Nowhere does Peter write that in one of the epistles. But I'm saying, okay, if I were to go search in the book of James or the book of 1st, 2nd, or 3rd John, we're not going to find, anything about Ruth being just like the parable in Matthew chapter 20. We're not, there's no comparison in the Bible. But what we're doing is we're drawing out principles. We're drawing the principles out. Okay. I could easily go to the book of John and find a principle that says, if somebody has, in the book of James and the book of John, somebody is hungry, they got warm clothing, and you say, hey, be well, be filled, but you don't give them anything. You haven't done anything good for them. So we could find principles. We could find, Jesus says all the time, the last will be first, the first will be last. Paul says, be like Christ, who had everything but gave up everything to become a servant. I mean, we could find the principles, So that's what I'm pulling. I'm pulling the principles from a parable. Jesus knew the book of Ruth. I'm not saying necessarily Jesus had the book of Ruth in mind here. But if we want to get into the ancient mindset, we're getting into the ancient thought. Okay. And we're getting into the thoughts of God. Ruth is a Moabitess. She's got different gods. But God still gave her the extra stuff here through Boaz. She came at the 11th hour. And God says, not only am I going to give you what what everybody else gets, God's giving her even more. Let her even glean among the sheaves. So she gleaned in the field until evening. Then she beat out. Remember earlier we were talking about threshing? That's what this would be. Okay. Then she beat out what she had gleaned. I'm looking over here. So she gleaned, then she beat out what she had gleaned. And she threshed. Vindicated. She threshed the barley she gathered. Okay. and amounted to an ephah. Ephah. See note on Isaiah 5:10. Why? 30 pounds of barley right there. An ephah. 3/5 of a bushel or 22 liters. I like this. 30 pounds of barley. Okay. NLT. And filled an entire basket. 26 quarts. That's about an ephah. Over here. Ephah. Over here. 26 quarts. About an ephah. Okay. All right. Anyway, so she beat it out. She takes it there. She does it. Man. And she picks it up, goes into the city, 30 pounds. How far is this? I mean, in ancient cities are much like today's cities. But there's today's cities, you got like big cities. Even small cities, you got streets of concrete. Some places have sidewalks. They're paths where people like walk in the grass and they create dirt paths kind of. There might be like construction with gravel and stuff. Some cities have trash all over them and such. Are you going to be able to have a farm? Yes. Some people have little garden plots in their backyard, but a huge farm to feed hundreds or even thousands of people. Can't put that in the city. That's why when you're driving through the countryside, that's where you see the farms. You see them out in the open fields in the countryside where people aren't walking around, where people aren't driving their car. There aren't McDonald's and parking lots everywhere, like in a city. There are McDonald's and parking lots everywhere. McDonald's, Yeah. Ancient cities, people lived. There were houses. They put all the houses together and such. Here, let's see real quick. Levites fields. I'm gonna look for. This is gonna be difficult to find. Appreciation portion for Levites. Levites city, maybe. Levites may be redeemed and a house sell in the city of this reverts back in the year of Jubilee. Levites shall extend right here. Cities for Levites. Now the Lord spoke to Moses in the plains of Moab by Jordan opposite Jericho, saying, command the sons of Israel that they give to the Levites. The Levites are the priests. Okay. So they don't have jobs. They have to be given everything. Give to the Levites from the inheritance of their possessions cities to live in. The sons of Israel are going to give cities to the Levites. The sons of Israel's possessions includes cities. They're going to give them to the Levites. Okay. You shall give to the Levites pasture lands around the cities. You can't have cows walking around in cities. I guess you could. They'd be pooping all over everything. They need grass to eat. In cities, people walk everywhere. And so you end up trampling down all the grass. You need cows to roam free to like really be healthy and strong. The cities shall be theirs to live in, and their pasture lands shall be for their cattle and for their equipment and for all their other animals. The pasture lands of the cities which you are to give the Levites shall extend from the wall of the city outward 1,000 cubits around. Okay. So in other words, outside the city. So she's not a Levite. Bethlehem probably isn't. I'm 99% sure it's not a Levitical city. There are cities of refuge. Let's see. Cities of refuge. The cities which you shall give to the Levites shall be the 6 cities of refuge. So only 6 cities in all Israel. 3 on one side of the Jordan River, between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea. 3 on the other side of the Jordan River. Then you shall select for yourself cities to be your cities of refuge. Okay. The city, 6. Okay. So Levites, they get 6 cities to live in, all, And I probably lived in Jerusalem because eventually, because that's where the tabernacle was eventually. So it's not there just yet. But this is in Numbers. It says when you come into the city. So they're still wandering in Numbers. They're still wandering around in the wilderness, with Moses. They just came out of Egypt with Moses. A few centuries later, you got the book of Ruth. So we're back here. They just come out of Egypt. They're wandering around in the desert for 40 years. God gets mad at them, says, y'all going to roam around for 40 years. They're roaming around. And God says, when you have a nation, you will give cities to the Levites, 6 cities of refuge. So they don't have those cities just yet, but that's when they come. My phone just made a weird noise. I'm not sure what noise that is. In fact, actually, my phone updated last night. My work phone. Give me a phone for the church to call people. My work phone updated, so it might be making weird noises and stuff. I have to go find out how to stop all those weird noises. I don't want them dinging, binging, bling, pudding. I don't want all that. So Moses is saying, when you get the land, you're going to give them cities of refuge. That's where the Levites are going to live. Yeah. Bethlehem. In addition to them, you shall give them 42 cities. I wonder if Bethlehem, Control F, see the red down here? No Beth. That doesn't mean here. I don't think that it tells them which cities to give them. Bethlehem might have been a city of refuge. Might not have. We're never told Boaz is a priest. We're never told they're a priest anywhere in Bethlehem. They're in the book of Ruth. So yeah. All right. So how far is the field from the city? I don't know, but she carries 33 pounds of stuff back to the city. She picked it up and went to the city. 30 pounds. I mean, that's not a lot. Okay, I want you to grab 30 pounds of 30 pounds, say, in a basket, a big bushel basket that's kind of loose basket. We think of baskets as being stiff, but a kind of a loose straw basket. 30 pounds of stuff with handles probably. I want you to grab it and I want you to carry it, I don't know, half a mile down the road. I don't think you'd make it. Okay. And her mother-in-law, Naomi, saw what she had gleaned. She also took some out and gave Naomi what she had left after she was satisfied. Ruth took some out and gave it to Naomi. What was left after Ruth was satisfied. So I guess Ruth ate some more food. Or maybe it's up here. She ate and was satisfied, and then what was left, she carried it back to the town, and that's what she gave Naomi. Maybe, or maybe Ruth ate again. Why not? She did start working again. It says they ate some food, then they worked again. Today we eat for fun most of the time. We're like, what do you want to eat? I don't know. Oh, let's go get some for fun. I got a pie in there. I just eat it for fun, It's like, yeah, it's good. Here they ate out of necessity. They didn't know if they were going to have food for tomorrow. They had stores, but rich people had stores of food. And then God fussed at them for hoarding the food. They're supposed to give the food away. Supposed to help poor people with the food. Don't hoard stuff for yourself. Most people hoard food with rich people. Ruth and Naomi, they ain't rich. Ruth just came from Moab. She ain't got nothing. Naomi went to Moab. Her husband and her sons died. Now she comes back. Now she comes back. Does she even have a house to stay in anymore? What if somebody took it? I don't know. She probably not rich. Her mother-in-law then said to her, where in the world did you glean today? Where did you work? May he who took notice of you be blessed. That's what I'm thinking. It's making it sound like a lot of food. I mean, Boaz was like giving her money, giving her stuff from the sheaves, telling his servants purposely slip some out and let her have it. 30 pounds, maybe that's not a lot. I mean, I think we're supposed to get the idea that this is a lot. May he who took notice of you be blessed. Okay. Naomi's been down on her. She was like in the first chapter, God has dealt bad with me. He struck me. He don't like me. But here, She's like, hey, we got food. May he who took notice of you be blessed. So she told her mother-in-law with whom she had worked and said, okay, so Ruth told her mother-in-law, the person she worked with. The name of the man whom I worked with today is Boaz. Okay, her mother-in-law. So Ruth told Naomi the person with whom she had worked. The name of the person with whom I work today is Boaz. Okay. Or maybe the name of the man. So she told her mother-in-law the man whom she had worked with. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So she told her mother-in-law, okay, over here. So Ruth told her mother-in-law about the man in whose field she had worked. She said, the man I worked with today is named Boaz. Okay. Then Ruth told her mother-in-law about the one whose place she had been working. The name of the man whom I worked with today as well. Okay, so that was a little weird sentence structure. So I figured we would, right, is Boaz. So Ruth still don't know who Boaz is. She doesn't know that Boaz, she doesn't, even though we've been told twice, we reading the book have been told twice, but Ruth does not know that Boaz is a man of great wealth of the family of Elimelech, Naomi's deceased husband, belonging to Boaz, who was of the family of Elimelech. We don't know that. Ruth doesn't know that. Ruth just thinks, oh, some dude named Boaz. He was really nice to me. Look at all this stuff he gave me. That's all Ruth knows. Okay. Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, may he be blessed of the Lord who has not withdrawn his kindness from the living and from the... May he be blessed of the Lord. I think it's the Lord has not withdrawn his kindness from the living and from the dead. Why is she saying that? Again, her husband died. She ain't got no children. Naomi probably thinks of herself as good as dead. Why? Her husband died. Her family, her kids died. Gave her no children. Her very particular, like there were 12 tribes of Israel, but then each family had a family name. There's hundreds, maybe thousands of families. They want their family name to go on. Her family name gonna die with her. Gone. But the Lord has not withdrawn his kindness from the living and the dead. I don't think she's saying, may Boaz be blessed of the Lord, because Boaz has not withdrawn his kindness. I think she's saying the Lord. Remember, in the first up here, do not call me Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me, because her sons and her husband's gone, and she doesn't have any kids to carry on her name. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why do you call me Naomi, since the Lord has testified against me? The Almighty has afflicted me. But now, look at this. The man is our relative. He is one of our redeemers. The Lord has not withdrawn kindness from me. Now she changed her tune. Why? Because Boaz, who showed extreme kindness, is our relative. He is one of our redeemers. He can redeem. He can, but just like you buy back the field we talked about. I've got to look this stuff up better. I don't have this all, so this is going to kind of, let's see. Redeem. Let's go search. Say therefore to the sons of Israel. Moses is to tell the sons of Israel, I am the Lord. I will bring you out from under the labors of the Egyptians. I will rescue you from their bondage. I will also redeem you with an outstretched arm. God's going to redeem them. He's going to buy them back. Every firstborn of a donkey you shall redeem with a lamb. You shall redeem with a lamb. I think you short, but if you do not redeem it, then you shall break the donkey's neck. You shall buy it back with a lamb. I think, I'm not sure. I've heard comments on this before, what it means. I've never really understood it, All right. The people you redeemed. Oh, every firstborn of my sons I redeem. So therefore I sacrifice to the Lord the males, every firstborn of my sons I redeem. It came about when Pharaoh was stubborn about letting us go, the Lord put to death every firstborn in the land of Israel, in the land of Egypt. It's a Passover. God kills all the firstborn of the Egyptians, from human firstborns to animal firstborns. Okay. Therefore, I sacrifice to the Lord the males, every firstborn born in the womb, but every firstborn of my sons I redeem. So, in other words, God killed the firstborn of all the Egyptians, and He's saying, "Hey, so we have firstborn sons. We don't kill them; we redeem them. We buy them back. That's why they do sacrifices. That whenever a child is born, they do a sacrifice. It's kind of like the firstborn son kind of belongs to God, but they're redeeming them." Okay. She's displeasing in the eyes of her master, who designated her for himself. You buy a female slave, she is displeasing in the eyes of her master, then he shall let her be redeemed. He shall let her be bought out, buy back her freedom. He doesn't have the authority to send her to foreign people. He's unfair to her. No, let her be redeemed. Let her be bought out of slavery back to freedom. Yeah. Oh, here it is again. Shall redeem the firstborn and for none of them. Okay. The whole donkey thing. You shall redeem with a lamb the firstborn from a donkey. And if you do not redeem the donkey, then you shall break the donkey's. Maybe you pay for a lamb. So you have a donkey, and either A, you kill it, or B, you sacrifice a lamb. I'll have to ask about that. Hey, right here, 25. Leviticus 25. Sabbath the Lord for 6 years you shall, okay. And for 6 years you shall prune your vineyard, but during the seventh year, the land shall have a Sabbath rest. Every 7 years, you gotta let the land just rest. You shall not sow your field nor prune your vineyard for a whole year. Don't do it. That requires a lot of faith. Hey guys, we know that you live by every day going out and farming, and then yay, at the end, we take in the harvest. I know that's the way you live, and if you don't do that, it's a death sentence. But the seventh year, you're not going to go do anything. Man, the land shall have a sabbatical year. All of you shall have the Sabbath produce of the land as food. So whatever the land just happens to produce, you're not going to go out and plant food, whatever it happens to produce. That's every 7. Even the cattle and the animals shall have its produce. Okay. So you're going to, every 7 years. You are also to count off 7 Sabbaths of years for yourself. 7 Sabbaths of years. So every 7 years, you have a Sabbath year. So 7 Sabbaths would be 7 times 7 years. So you shall have 7 Sabbaths of the years. That is 49 years. Okay. Every 7 years, that's 1. Another 7 years, 2. Another 7 years, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That equals eventually 7 sevens is 49 years. You shall then sound a ram's horn abroad in the 10th day of the 10th month. On the Day of Atonement, you shall sound the horn throughout your land. So you shall consecrate the 50th year and proclaim a release throughout the land to all its inhabitants. A release. It shall be a jubilee for you, and each of you shall return to his own property. Naomi, she left. She possibly didn't have property when she came back. Where's my property? I don't know. What if on the Sabbath year, hey, this belonged to Naomi? You give her back her land. So in other words, I bought land from this guy, from this guy, from this guy. I'm like a monopoly mogul. I got all this land. I'm building houses and hotels, monopoly, build houses, whatever. I got like 20 people's land. Heck yeah, 50th year. I hear the ram's horn. Okay. I give you back all your land. I give you back all your land. I give you, here's your land. Hey, here's your land. Hey, here's your land. Wait, what do I have left? My land. I have my land. There we go. I have my land. Good. Now everybody has their land back. That's awesome. So you can accumulate wealth and such for 49 years, and then you give it all back. That's so cool. On the Day of Atonement, it shall be a year of Jubilee for you. Each of you shall return to his own property. Each of you shall return to his family. If you were sold as a slave, you can return to your family. I believe that's what it's saying. You shall have the 50th year as a Jubilee. You shall not sow, nor harvest its aftergrowth, nor gather grapes from its untrimmed vines, for as a Jubilee shall be holy to you. You shall eat its produce from the field. Don't be going to do no work on the 50th year. So the 49th year, you're not supposed to do any work. And the 50th year, 2 years in a row, buddy. The 50th year, you're a servant. Hey, guess what? You get to go free, and each of you shall return to his own property. Furthermore, if you make a sale to your friend or buy from your friend's hand, you shall not wrong one another. Corresponding to the number of years after the Jubilee, you shall buy from your friend. He shall sell it to you according to the number of crops. In other words, don't be like, hey, the year of Jubilee is coming up soon, but I still want you to pay me $3 million. No. It's 1 year. If you got 1 year to the land of Jubilee, maybe pay him $10,000 or a denarius or whatever. Okay. In proportion to a greater number of years, shall you increase its price because you're giving them more years worth of crops. The land we're talking about is attached to crops, attached to food. Why do you want land? For food to make, and you can sell the food and make money. Some people did that. It's all attached to each other. It's very agricultural. They live on the land very much. We just don't do this. We don't think this way today. But this is how they lived. You start growing up, you want land so you can grow food on it. And the land also carries your name with it. The land doesn't really go anywhere. Land is pretty permanent. Now, some land, sorry, messing with my shoe now, it's coming apart. Some land, say there's an earthquake and you're right next to the ocean, earthquake and it falls in the ocean. Okay, does that happen very often? Like, no. Oh, yeah, but all I hear about is California. 99% of the world that doesn't happen. There are earthquakes in a lot of places, but not that like destroy, land disappears. There aren't sinkholes in every country, and then they just mass amounts of land just disappear. Poof. No. Land is pretty permanent. So land gives you food and it carries on the family name. Okay, just like kids do. And then their kids and their kids and their kids. The land does. You shall not wrong one another. Okay. You shall therefore follow my statutes. What are we going to eat? Then I will order my blessing for you in the 6th year. Will bring produce for 3 years. So God's saying, hey, look, guys, you're wondering what you're going to eat in the 7th year. Just have faith. I'll give you plenty of stuff. I'll give you enough for 3 years, in fact. All right. The land, moreover, shall not be sold permanently, because the land is God's. The land is not sold permanently. The land isn't theirs. The land is God's. For you are only strangers and residents with me. We are strangers and residents, foreigners on this world. Okay, right here. The man is ours, is a relative. He is one of our redeemers. Okay. For every piece of property, you are to provide the redemption of the land. You're to pay money for the land. If a fellow countryman of yours becomes so poor that he sells part of his property, then his closest redeemer, male relative, to act on his behalf. Yes, male relative. If a fellow countryman of yours becomes so poor that he sells part of his property, then his closest redeemer is to come and buy back what his relative sold. my cousin gets so poor, he sells his property. His closest relatives, say his dad, one of his brothers, should come and buy back what is sold. I wouldn't. My cousin's pretty distant. Now, let's say my cousin had no brothers. Let's say my cousin's father passed away. What if I was a relative? What if I was the next relative in line somewhere? Maybe. If I had 4 brothers and I was the second oldest brother, so then you got the third and the fourth loses his stuff. The closest brother to him would be the third. Let's say that brother passes away. I'm next in line, right? Because I was the second brother and he's the fourth. There's no third anymore. Close the gap. There we go. If I'm the uncle, then I would leave it to the brothers to do it. If that guy's got no brother, I'd leave it to his dad. His dad passes away. I'm the uncle. There might be other uncles. Who knows? We would have to try and figure this out. Who's the closest relative? That if somebody's poor, then the closest redeemer, the male acting on his behalf, is to come and buy back what his relative has sold. Or in case someone has no redeemer, but recovers to find sufficient means for its redemption, then he shall calculate the years since its sale and refund the balance to the man whom he sold it to, and so return to his property. So the man, he says, hey, I sold it for this amount of money. You got this amount of crops out of it. Here's the money. You got the crops. Here's the extra money for the year since then or whatever. You could tell I'm not sure exactly how it works. I'm trying to think of it on the fly, but you get it. You're trying to money for crops, basically. This isn't land that you're going to build supermarkets on. No, this is farmland, right? Yeah. He shall calculate it. But if he has found, but if he has not found sufficient means to get it back for himself, then what he has sold shall remain in the hand of his purchasers until the year of Jubilee. But if the Jubilee shall revert, so he may revert to his property. 50 years, baby. That sounds like a long time. In ancient time, that's not very long. In ancient times, everything was really slow. To us, it's the next day. That's too long. Likewise, if a man sells a dwelling house in a house to live in a walled city, then his redemption right remains valid until a full year after its sale. His right of redemption lasts a full year. But if it's not bought back from within a space of a full year, then his house is in the walled city, passes permanently to its purchase throughout the generations. It does not. So the house does not revert in the year of Jubilee. The houses of the villages, however, which have no surrounding wall, shall be regarded as open fields. They have redemption right, reverts in the year of Jubilee. As for the city of the Levites have a permanent right of redemption for the houses of the cities which are in their possession. So they just keep their houses forever. What therefore belongs to Levite may be redeemed in the house and sell in the city. But pasture fields of their cities shall not be sold, for that is the Levite's permanent possession. So you have to leave the Levites their city. If the Levite loses the house, even if it's in a walled city, it goes back to the Levite. Levites, they don't have anything. They're working for God. They're trusting in faith. Okay. Of poor countrymen. Of redeeming a person who's poor. So you see, you can even redeem a person who's poor. Okay. So Naomi said, okay, this man is our relative. He is one of our redeemers. He's one of our redeemers. He could redeem us. He could redeem our field for us that we lost. If Naomi, Elimelech had fields and they lost them, he could redeem a house if they had a house out in a walled city somewhere. He could, if a husband dies, okay, the wife's husband dies, the brother of the husband is supposed to go in and have sexual relations with the other lady. Yes. In order to give her a son, so that the family name can continue on. We don't do that today. We're in New Testament times. God, why would you do that? Why would you have people committing adultery? Because, my brother, the brother of the husband who died is probably married. The husband dies. Hey, brother, come on. I don't have any babies. Come sleep with me and give me a baby. And the brother says, excuse me, I am married to this lady over here. I am not committing adultery. They didn't see it that way. I don't know. That ancient mindset is weird. That's strange. I don't know. I'm glad I didn't live in that time. But if I did, that would have been normal to me. That'd have been everyday stuff to me. And in 1,000 years, people are going to look back on us and see stuff we're doing right now and go, what were they thinking? They're going to think it's weird. That's just the way it is. And guess what? God doesn't say, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're right, you're right, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, right. This is right, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is right. Okay, I want you to change everything that's wrong to exactly what is right. Go. God doesn't do that. God works with people where they're at. God says certain things are wrong and you should do it right. Then other things, he works with them where they're at. I'm glad God does that for me. I'm glad he doesn't just, destroy me. This man is a relative. He's one of our redeemers. Boaz could be a redeemer to Ruth, to Naomi. Boaz, if he's a relative of Elimelech, could be in line to go to Naomi, sleep with her, give Naomi kids. Hey, Naomi would have a kid. Okay, that could happen. Then Ruth the Moabitess said, furthermore, so we're back to this, okay? She brought in the stuff. She gave it to him. Blessed is the name. The man, she picked up and went to the city, gave some of the wheat to Naomi, or the barley. Her mother-in-law said, where did you go today and glean today? And where did you work? May he who took notice of you be blessed. She told her mother-in-law with whom she had worked and said, the name of the man with whom I work today is Boaz. Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, may he be blessed of the Lord who has not withdrawn his kindness from the living and from the dead. Again, Naomi said to Ruth, the man is our relative. He is one of our redeemers. All that stuff I just explained to you, Naomi would have known that. Ruth would have probably known that. Ancient people probably thought alike. Moab, where she came from, probably had very similar laws, very similar customs and traditions. And Ruth probably was told by Naomi, hey, this is what we do in Israel. This is how we do it, So they would have known all this stuff I just explained to you and that you're going, that's weird. Every 50 years, if I buy something legitimately, it's mine, I'm supposed to give it back to them. Wait, if my husband dies, his brother's going to come and sleep with me because I ain't got no babies. No way. To them, this is normal. They knew this. This man is our relative. He is one of our redeemers. Then Ruth the Moabitess said, furthermore, he said to me, you are to stay close to my servants until they have finished all my harvest. And Naomi said to her daughter-in-law Ruth, it is good, my daughter, that you go out with his young women so that others do not assault you in another field. That's true. She knows it seems like she can tell that Boaz is a person to protect her. Okay. So Ruth stayed close by the young women of Boaz in order to glean until the end of the barley harvest and the wheat harvest. And she lived with her mother-in-law. Okay, so Ruth lives with her mother-in-law. That's good. So her mother-in-law must have a house. Maybe her house was empty. Maybe they got another house. I don't know. Did they live in a hut? Did they build? I don't know. Okay, so all the stuff I'm saying about Redeemer and such, well, they haven't really talked about it yet, except for she just said, hey, he's one of our redeemers. Naomi said that, he could get our field back for us. He could get our house back for us. Talking about redeeming a donkey, or the firstborn son would be redeemed because they belong to God. Killed all the Egyptian sons. All the firstborn sons of the Israelites belong to God, but you can redeem them. Kind of strange. I know it's strange. It's like, what kind of logic is that? That's the way they did it. I don't know. You go argue with God about it. All right, guys, that's chapter 2. Unless we want to talk about the end of the wheat harvest and the barley harvest, but I think we're good. I've talked so much about that stuff. Okay. Chapter 3. Here we go. All right, guys. Stop share. Let's pray real quick. Lord God, we just want to say thank you for loving us so much. You love us where we're at, though we don't understand what ancient peoples did and why you treated them the way you did. We don't even understand what we do half the time and why you treat us the way you treat us. We're thankful that you care about us, that you only want the best for us. We can trust you, Lord. Help us to remain in continual trust in you. In your name we pray. Amen. Okay, guys. See y'all in the next very basic Bible.